Hey folks, today I wanted to talk to you about the concept of feature fatigue. So, in the old good days, people used to buy products basically based on feature lists. So, they would compare the how many features they can buy for like $100 in one product versus in another product, and that's how they would estimate the value for money because in the sales led motion, they would never be able to get a proper taste of the product before actually signing the contract. These days, it's different. When it comes to freemium or free trial models, your users are not evaluating the value of your product based on the number of features you're offering, but based on the value they can get from your product. So, how fast they can essentially get the job done that they came for done. And yeah, how easy it is for them and how they feel while using your products. If they feel overwhelmed, if they feel like the learning curve is too sharp and they need to go back and forth between your help talks and your customer support, their perceived usability of your product is going to be much lower, and the number of features you're offering is not going to change that. In fact, it may affect the usability of your product negatively and result in a lower trial to paid conversion rate and higher churn. So, this is exactly what I wanted to talk about: feature fatigue, how you can recognize it, and how you can prevent it. So, first of all, recognizing feature fatigue. You may notice that your users are not really adopting your features. So, low adoption rates, do not confuse that with feature active discovery or activation rate, right? So, your users are essentially discovering your features through your onboarding or otherwise, and they may be checking them out. They are activating, but then they're not sticking around. So essentially, the repeated usage of these features is pretty low. Then you may be noticing an increase in custom support requests, especially around the same features from the same users. That may indicate that they're simply not remembering how to use your product or how to achieve a certain outcome they need with your product because it's the workflow is so complicated or the UI is so cluttered. And of course, a higher churn rate is also potentially an indication of feature fatigue. Naturally, it's not the only reason. Okay, how can you prevent feature fatigue? So first of all, prevention is better than cure, So you want to make sure that you're doing proper market research and involving your users in the process of deciding what to build instead of just chasing feature parity. By the way, we have a talk at Product Drive about feature parity by Brandon Doman. So sign up for the perils of feature parity to learn more about why this is not the best way to build your product roadmap. But anyway, you should involve your users at an early process, at an early stage of ideation, for instance, by creating fake door tests and then recording your focus groups. Engaging with these features that you're planning to build through low file prototypes, and of course, ask your users about the features that they are finding useful and not so useful in your product through in-app surveys. You can launch these in-app surveys and the fake door tests with user pilots without any code. So as usual, I would advise you to go check it out. Another way how you can prevent cluttering your interface with gratuitous unnecessary features is by doing dark launches. So launch your features gradually only to specific user segments and see if the new features add value and are actually being used, or they subtract value from your product by just cluttering your interface. A dark launch is where you have a feature flag or toggle that can be switched on and off for specific user segments. It's a very useful tactic, but it also incurs some potential tech debt. So read a separate post about it that I linked in the newsletter. Finally, you should be tagging your existing features, and then every, say, quarter, taking stock of your feature usage. So, what is the repeated usage per feature, per segment? Note it down and then transfer all your features into this feature audit template. Here is a very useful feature audit template from Miro. As you can see, it's sort of an XY axis. On the axis, you have the number of people or segments that are engaging in the different features of your product. And on the y axis, you have the frequency of usage, and you simply scatter the features on this graph in accordance with your notes from the feature usage survey, which you can also conduct with user pilot by tagging your features and then noting down the frequency of usage. Yeah, so that way you can identify the features that are not used almost at all by any people at all. It's data driven. You can then, again, launch a survey like this one to make sure that the quantitative data is accurate, because maybe you find something out from the qualitative survey that will inform you that actually this feature is useful, but for some reason the frequency of usage is not as high as for the other features. This may occur with certain useful features that are kind of more perennial. Like, let's say people don't do SEO audits, every week. They may only do them, say, after some major changes to the website, or every quarter, or even every half a year. Hopefully, this was useful for you and it gave you some food for thought on what you can do to avoid feature fatigue. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts as usual, and see you next week. Bye bye.